He's gonna rob a bank to try to buy a ring. There's no beer in the house. We should go buy some beer. I said, good son. And Holly's like,
why State Farm agents are there with the free family insurance checkup, keeping in touch to help keep you protected. Home, life, and health, wherever you live, from Ironton to Ashtabula. And like a good neighbor,
My heart cried out for only you. Well, I believe in you. Falling in love again with you. I know why love is forever for you. I want to help for certain, but it takes more. Caught up in a whirlwind. Standing in the door. Look at what you've done. Why you become a two lovers playing away.
On this Wednesday on the drive home. And, well, Sonia?
Yes?
As we start to wind down here, I just wanted to mention the fact that our staff is here, the entire staff.
Here they have like Tyrone Corbin and Campbell.
Like that. We get through it?
That's what everybody picks when they can't figure out who it is. And you know what, don't you?
What?
Do you know what?
I'm wrong.
Exactly. Z-Rock back rockwards.
That is a wasp.
Wasp?
Tonight, few clouds rolling in, nothing to speak of as far as precipitation. Tonight's low 33, and then tomorrow, partly cloudy and cooler with a high reaching 50. It is cold as... No matter where you are around Delmarva today, no matter where you may be, when you are within earshot of those great oldies, when you hear those great oldies, it's only natural for you to think of Y99. After all, we are the oldie station.
So mama, I'm sure all the henna now is around.
Coconut Beach Boys there. Helen Reddy with You and Me Against the World. Christopher Cross volunteers fighting black teenagers with a safe place to live. For more information, want to give me a call here, 215-667-8101. The Neil Easy 101. Johnny Short.
On Boss 97 with your chance to win new kids' hot seats every hour till 9 o'clock tonight. You can also get Boss 97 prizes. Listen to those touchstones before 11 on Boss 97.
Girl, look at me. Tell me, do you like what you see? Do you think you can do me? Kiss me, pretty baby. Girl, what makes you think you can deal with me? Think you can do me?
really support the
No, open just the location.
Brian, turn around and look at me now. Okay, now this will show you how close up we can get. When we go back, I'll show you. I'll be able to stand this far back.
Right. I just have the pen loose. Put them all out?
Yeah, it really gets lights and spotlights on them too.
Where's your paper?
That really helps a lot. Yeah.
I'll put 2 piles on either side though.
I just put them 2 piles of paper.
The reason I wanted this way is because the people that sit but I don't want this paper to be too. I don't want to see it.
We're not going to be stable, right?
Right.
Close to your 25th, too. That'd be a token. It's fun to look at pictures, though. I always like to see it.
So we know exactly where we're going, how long it's going to take, so it's not really a big deal. But
Debbie's smoking. She must have had a... Debbie's smoking.
And then we just went to, she said, we'll just go to the neighborhood store. So we just kind of walked.
I would love to live down there, but
She said, first of all, it was weird.
A little, yeah.
She let you out, Joe?
Very nice prize.
But I didn't bring any pills with me. I
Music box meeting?
I want to sing that.
I wish I would have been able to go over a list of people.
chance to get
Right, he would give us so, and we did so many times.
I want two. No, but Jimmy, tell me
I thought Ron might want to get it. I think it got less filling. Yeah. I knew this is so funny. These are the only I know you do it.
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Great. Like, excuse me. Hey, don't ever push on me again like that. I know your wife. This is like let me sneak underneath you. Remember these? She's trying to walk away. Oh, yeah. What were you doing?
I'm not sure.
That's a little cute.
I know, but
Well, I was feeding Spartan.
I know, but you look like
Well, those are mine. It's like, wow. Well, those are my slippers, so that has to be me.
those are my slippers and ass.
That's you.
Gotta be me, I said. Oh,
Remember our Christmas cards? Grab a duck. Did you see the wedding?
I don't want you here. Don't cry.
Dad.
I never liked him. I was just being nice because he was old.
He used to be halfway decent looking. Now look at him. And even Sarah. I told Brian to have another kid. I want to
I told Ryan, I said, Ryan, I guess
Hey, I threw the party. I feel like he's still in charge. I don't understand this.
He's coming out of his coma.
the tits do not have bumps on them. All class, so you know.
That time was a movie prize.
You're not going to get in the family that way, right?
Again.
Oh, Dad, you missed it. It's too late.
That's long enough, Brian. It's a family show. This is a family show.
And he went to the fair. He rallied for that. Excuse me?
Grab the weight. Okay. I'd like to start by thanking everybody for coming tonight. I appreciate everybody that came, and especially long distance, all the way from California. That really surprised me. I was kind of choked up by that one. You're a good cousin. Thank you very much. I got a long list of things I'd like to say here. It's long. And it's not too bad, don't worry, guys. I'm not gonna say anything real bad. It's a tradition in the Rennick family that my Uncle Henry pretty much started. Was we give a little roast and we say some things that they probably would rather not have said, but you know, that's how it goes. And I'm paying for this, so I can pretty much say what. Thank you, Dave. My grandma and grandpa for helping me. I want to start out by there was a lot of things. There was more or less. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not talking about me yet. Not me yet, all right? I've heard over the years a lot of things said. My parents were real young when they got married. Extremely young. They weren't able to vote, let's put it that way. I know there's a few people here that, there's a few people in this room that really only gave the marriage a couple years. And I'm not going to mention any names, but they're right over in this area. That means a lot to me, because I have heard, they haven't told stories, but they just told me how it was, and I think these two have done a really good job over the past 25 years. More or less. Yeah. I'm extremely proud of what they've accomplished over the last 25 years. I know they started out at as low as you could probably start out. Not saying that's bad, but they started from the bottom and they really worked their way up. My dad started his own electrical business, which has turned into a very, very good business, and hopefully someday I'll be proud to take it over for him.
Need a raise.
Yeah. Quite a few after this. Business. Let's go business. I'm extremely proud of him. He also is, of course, a fireman for Westlake, and I'm very proud of him doing that. He's had many recommendations from people.
To get out.
How good of a fireman he is, and he's saved quite a few lives that I know of, and that really makes me proud of him. And my mom's also put up a lot of crap from that too, so I'm really proud of my mom on that one too. Thank you, Mom. It got really bad when family members started asking for money. That's when I knew I was in big trouble. They all love you, believe me. I want to thank my mom and dad for all the things they've done for me over the years. They've really done a lot for me.
Like what?
Well, my dad.
I gave him a job.
My dad inspired me a lot. He told me how it was. He said, work hard, work fast, and make a lot of money. And which is true. And then my mom came back and said, don't pay any attention to him, he lost money in the stock market. So, he's usually in a bad mood. So. but that's okay. That's okay. He's a good guy. But no, my dad instilled on me that you work hard for what you do. Make, this is what he said. He said, you set a goal, you go for it, and don't let anything stand in your way. That meant a lot to me, and hopefully that's what I'll follow in my life. That meant a lot to me. Let's see.
That's all I said.
No. About wearing a glove or something. I don't know what that was all about.
Never go bareback. I told him
My God, watch it, Dave.
She's within throwing age.
About 4 years ago, I moved out of the house. which it was either kill or be killed, you know? No, I can't think of any place that, you can take your laundry at 8 o'clock, and by 5 o'clock it's done when you get home from work. I love my mom for that. She's the best. At no charge, of course. That's my mom for you. She's a very loving person. And I think I got a lot of that in me from my mom. A place like home. And I really feel that with my parents, they would never stop me from staying over or just bumming off me for weeks on end. I love that. Yeah, but really, there's no place like home. And I know people that have moved out of their house and they just don't feel like they can go back home, but I know I'm always welcome at my parents' house. And I love them for that. They always make me feel welcome. Well, I just want to start off by thanking my mom and dad, and I hope they enjoy themselves at this party. And this was the least I could do for them. They've done so many things for me over the years. The party was the very least I could do for them.
Name some of the things that we've done.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a running tradition is for some other people to say something. I don't think my grandparents are going to say much of anything. They're not that kind of people. Yes, yeah.
They did before we got married.
Yeah, that was one of the people way back here in the beginning where I said they gave a year. I remember. Yeah. All right, well, come on, Graham, hobble over here.
Come on. This will be a first in my lifetime. Come on, Mom. I got him.
I think Brian ought to do this every year.
As I said, that's a hard act to follow, believe me. And a lot that he said was very true. And a lot of it has come to pass, as he said too. That we could never be prouder than we are of David and Sarah at this particular time. They have accomplished more than most any young couple that you could imagine. They have done marvelously well, and we are particularly proud of them. I'm awfully sorry. Sarah has a brother who lives in California, and he is not able to be here. He is studying for his master's degree at San Diego State, and these are finals this weekend, so you can bet where he is. And we're thinking about him, and sorry he can't be here. We do have a very small family. This is our family. We don't have anybody else other than David and Sarah and Brian here. So we were most happy too that Debbie could afford to be here with us, as well as not knowing that she was going to be here until Thursday. I didn't tell Brian, or of course Sarah, we didn't want her to know anything, and I really don't think she did. And I don't think that David did either. I don't think they ever could imagine that this could be like this. But Brian has done an outstanding job. We started back last year, and he would call and say, Graham, what about this? Graham, what about that? And the only thing I had to go on was the way Sarah had acted at the time that she had the 50th anniversary for David's parents, Dr. Renick and Irene. And then when Sarah had our 50th anniversary 3 years ago, and she did such a wonderful job. And I told Brian, I said, we could never, ever get or do as nicely as she had done. But he has done a marvelous job. He's worked very, very hard. And he has, as he said, Rita and I tried to help what we could, but he had his ideas, so we told him we would back him in whatever he wanted to do, and we would help him. I think that's very well taken care of. But anyway, I know that financially, I don't think he has to worry, because he knows his grandfather's back of it. Whatever he wants to do.
I gotta go back home, by the way.
Accomplished, he would call or bring it over and say, "Grandma's this all right?" We'd say, "Fine." He brought the programs over to us for the meals and so forth. He picked them out. And I think you'll all have to agree that he has done a stupendous job, and we love him dearly. And I thank you all. Question me, but today it got real tough. After I talked to him, I said, "Dear Lord, please forgive me." Yeah, I didn't catch on.
Okay, Mom, prepare yourself. It's time for Uncle Henry. He's the main man. Hey, we didn't do this democratically, believe me. May I introduce Uncle Henry? Please be kind.
Well, thank you that you would do this for your parents. I think, I'm sure they appreciate it, and I think everybody here in this room appreciates what you've done. It's a very special thing to do for your parents. You know, we've had the opportunity, David and the rest of us, Marty and Barbara, have had the opportunity to do this a couple times for our parents who don't happen to be here tonight, and it's a special thing. And you remember it the rest of your life to be able to do something like this, no matter what it costs you emotionally or financially. It's a special thing to do for your parents. Now, Sarah and David. Well, you know, I was, you know, as Brian said, I was the oldest, and I'm, you know, the wisest, and so on and so forth. And I was one of the first, I think, to say it wouldn't last. And you know, I was, you know, I was going to be a doctor, just like my dad. And you know, I had all these goals and so on and so forth. And I told David that, you know, David, you know, you can't get married out of high school. You got to go to college. You got to do this and that to be successful. It's just, you know, you can't do what you're doing. You can't go into the Navy and then get married and have a child that's just not going to work. Your life will be destroyed by all that, you know. And I said, I give you a year. And I was the first one. I said, I give you 1 year, and that'll be it. And I said, I think you ought to think out what you're doing. You know, the wise older brother.
And I said, let my little head do all the things with my head.
And you know, it's funny because, and you know, you always look down on your younger brother because, you know, he doesn't know anything. He's just somebody to tease, and you know, he's just you know, just a little runt, you know, just a little runt of the family. And as you grow older, you appreciate, you know, what you have in the family, and as your parents get older and they pass away, you appreciate more and more your brothers and sisters and the value that they have to the family. And David is somebody who has so many talents that it's amazing to me how many times I've had to use him, and that makes me eat crow over and over again. And I must tell you, and as some of you probably know, I'm a physician, and I'm head of the department at Northwestern. It's a plug. And I recently had to call David and eat crow, because I was in trouble, and we had some electrical problems that I couldn't get solved in Chicago. And I called David, and I said, David, you got to help me out of a jam. And David came and helped me out of a jam. But not only did he help me out of a jam, but he stayed for 2 weeks. So, you know, not only did he send me a bill, but it cost me in restaurant charges after that. Sarah, you know, Sarah has been a real gem, and again, somebody who, you know, has grown and grown, and we have learned to really appreciate her. And I didn't appreciate her as much as when we did our 50th wedding anniversary for my parents. And we were living in Chicago, and my brother was living in New England, and my sister was living in Oklahoma, and we were having it here in Cleveland. And so all the work fell on Sarah and David. So it fell on Sarah. It didn't fall on David. And, you know, Sarah did to put into that. And the other thing about Sarah is that she is, you know, opens her doors to you at all times. When we come, except for this weekend, which we didn't come and stay with Sarah. Ordinarily, we would come and stay with Sarah. And Sarah's got a very warm heart. She'll open her doors to you all the time. And Sarah, we love you. We really do. So anyway, I take back what I said 26 years ago. And it really is nice to be here, and I would not miss it. And Kathy and I, and wish you the best, and I hope you have a wonderful time on your cruise. I think that that's a wonderful way to celebrate 25 years. I feel you've been on several cruises, and you will enjoy it immensely. And Kathy and I just wish you the best and love you both.
Fine. Come up with something to say. What are you doing, drinking back there? I hope that's what you brought for their present. Big case of Jeremiah Reed.
It's a new pair of fire stationery.
Oh, is that your speech right there? All right, man, I dig it. That's cool.
Always gotta have notes.
That's an innovation of one.
That's because when I left the house, I didn't go back. That's why I didn't bother. I didn't want to go to get a doctor's degree either. It's always happy. Well, I mean, we go way back. I remember when we were young kids, Dave and Sarah were frequently asked to come over and babysit when Dad was out at conventions or had to go someplace for work. And I kind of think there's an ulterior motive behind it. I think Dad was trying to scare him away from having any more kids. Sarah would come over and she just, I mean, it was always, you know, always one mess after another too. And but I think most of us liked when Dave used to come over because he had a motorcycle. We thought that was really cool. You know? And I don't think Dad knew the motorcycle was over there when he was out, but it was, and he thought it was kind of cute until when I was, I think, 15 or 16. I asked Dad if I could buy one of Dave's motorcycles. That didn't get too far. Of course, the next question was going to be if I could have an advance on my allowance for the next 3 years. But the motorcycles were nice. I remember them lying over on the side a couple times in the front of the house. You know, they're always real open when you come there. I mean, once you get by the gruff exterior, I think it's mostly a facade, and everybody knows that they both have big hearts. And there's always a space at their house for you. Mine happens to be behind the barn, by the corner, where you can... Excuse me, don't back up.
I'm sorry, I got it.
Hey, you want to say something? Stop the whole damn thing! Ruin all of his... Peggy, this is Peggy Reddick, Ronnie's wife. She has something to say. Go ahead, say it, Peggy.
Come on, Peggy, get up.
I just wanted to let everyone Dave and Sarah's backyard twice.
All I like to say is thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah.
30th birthday.
What is that? But that's really why Dave likes it when I visit, because we have a good liquor connection. That's right. Keeps everything in priority. Most important things first. But yeah, it's really nice to be invited here, and we're really looking forward to the next 25. But I don't think it's going to last another year. I don't know about you. Congratulations, really.
This should bring back some good memories, I hope. My dad and Mr. Hoffenberger have been friends for years, and I'm sure there's some good stories that, hey, Mom probably doesn't even know, huh?
Not all the stories, Jim. It will be our last year, Jim.
You mean about the Mr. Microphone and the girls in Lakewood and everything? When I walked up to Brian and I said, Brian, do you have anybody say a few words? And he said, oh, family and so forth. I said, well, put me on the list because I know your dad's in a coma right now because he just walked in the door and he has nothing to say. I have some things to say. But after hearing all these wonderful things,
You're gonna feel bad after this.
everybody else had to say, I don't know that I have too many things to say other than I know a lot of you out there have no idea who Jim Hockenberger is.
Donny Osmond.
If you go back maybe 20, 25 years, Dave didn't know who Jim Hockenberger was either.
Didn't care either.
But he was working for Western Union, and he was sent to Toledo to remodel one of the offices. And remodel the office means take out all the equipment and put new modernized equipment in. And I get a call one day, and it's Dave, and he says, I saw your ad in the Yellow Pages, and it says, you know, you buy unusual things and distressed stocks and so forth. And he said, I work for Western Union, and I have all these antiques and this equipment and so forth that came out of the office. Would you be interested? And I said, sure. You know, I'd love to take a look at whatever. And he said, well, meet me on the corner of about 9 o'clock tonight.
By the Twilight Zone, you remember?
Yes, I do remember the Twilight Zone. And the phone booth and Brenda's Body Shop. We hit them all, Dave. I thought that was a little strange. You know, meet him on a corner like that. He didn't have an office. I mean, if he was a broker of equipment for Western Union, like he said he was, I thought he would have an office. Well, I met him on the corner at 9 o'clock, and he said, now, Jim, this is the way it's going to work. I've got this Western Union truck, and it's full of time clocks and printers and all kinds of equipment. It's backed up to the dock. We're going to go take the truck and unload it at your place. And I said, okay. If I touch any of this equipment, Dave, am I going to burn my hands? And he said, well, you might. So he said, you know, there's this bar right next to the Western Union office, the phone booth. He said, maybe we can stop in there for a drink on the way. So we stopped and had a drink. And we left there to go to the truck. And we get to the designated spot. And Dave says, oh my God, somebody stole the truck! Which I thought was pretty good because we were there to steal stuff from Western Union. Somebody got there before we even stole the truck at all. So that's how I met Dave.
Friends ever since.
And it's been just about like that ever since. But really, seriously.
Tell him it really wasn't, really.
Well, I hung that clock on the wall, and it was singed. But seriously, Dave's been a good friend all through the years. Sarah's never liked me. But Dave was always, well, when it comes to jewelry, sure, you like me. But Dave's always been there. And I appreciate his friendship. And I also hope that Sarah cleaned the house, because we are all staying with you. And last of all, I'd like to thank Brian. Your grandmother said it the best, and Henry said it, but we all love you and Dave and Sarah.
Let's see. You got a fucking Yo. You want drink? Oh, Deb. Would you like to say something?
Sarah's niece from California, and I don't know a whole lot of you, but I know that you all know Dave and Sarah pretty well, and I guess that's why we're all here. And I just have a couple of quick things to say, and the first one is that since I don't know a whole lot of you, I think that your being here is a great tribute to Dave and Sarah and Brian all together, and I'm really glad that you all could come to help all of us, both Stokeses and Rennixes, however you would say that for with this celebration. And as Grandma said a little bit earlier, on the Stokes side, we're a small family, but the quote, rather old phrase. It's quality, not quantity, and we Stokeses love the Rennicks as much as anybody else.
That's what I keep telling Sarah.
And I'm just really glad that you all could come here.
You understand my jokes, don't you? Yes, all right.
There are select people who understand Dave's jokes, and that's the way it goes, but I'm just happy that you all could come tonight to help them to celebrate this great occasion, and I think we all owe a great deal of gratitude to Brian and Trish and Grandma and Grandpa for putting this whole thing together, and thanks all for coming. I just wanted to say a little bit on my side and our side of the family.
Okay, everybody stop eating. For everybody's information, Tim Lately did finish the salad already. You weren't supposed to drink until we took. Could somebody fill up my dad's champagne glass, please?
Again?
Again?
He was first.
Very nice.
Somebody did.
Does anybody else need their glass filled? Anybody else stand up? Raise your hand.
I waited
For the alcoholics, please raise their hands. Uncle Henry and Kathy, thank you very much. Yes, the Rennick side of the family, of course.
Rennick side.
Otis Rennick.
The Roddy times.
There you go.
Go.
Anyone else? Call any Rennick women yet?
Champagne? Oh, would any Rennick women?
Yeah, there's lots of them over here.
We gotta go home with these guys.
Okay, to my mom and dad, who I love very much, hope you enjoy this party. I wish I could do more, but I can't. I'll never be able to repay you for everything you've done for me. Good luck on your second honeymoon. I hope you come back safe and have a very good time. And happy anniversary. Cheers. Andy. Oh yeah, that's the pot calling the kettle black now, isn't it? Mrs. Anderson is pregnant with her third.
The bank is still refinancing that money that Mark bought. I spent on it. Yeah, I know you are.
And you were asking about that new job?
Yeah. No, well, the thing is that
This guy is clapping for me.
No, I talked to him. I said, what's the best route for me to go that Mr. Hero is responsible for the wedding? I said, there's no way out of it.
What's the liability to the assets? How big
is handling West End Builders? Not Joe Flory, my guy. For us, they're probably very cheap, yeah.
They hire you because they give you that. That's my
They followed this guy in because I had no idea. What's happening, bud? How you doing? All right, we're getting around. Say hi to Mr.
First one is with Kip.
Oh, I had a, yeah, but I had a plate full of everything.
There you go. There's a loop. Yeah, there's got to be somebody in there.
I'll let the orange. Thank you.
Unfortunately,
Oh, that is not your
No money. Well, you got to buy the bed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do everything I want to. Never bothers me.
There was like, and most of them were really really, Barbara.
Bribe. Yeah, all right. Stop beating around the bush. Okay. Yeah, pull out her seat. Yeah, boy.
Okay, thank you.
I want to thank Brian for the free dinner and the best part of the evening. Unfortunately, Dave had to come along. Yeah. And I am going to collect at the door when
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the bribe. But
no, I think, and I only give him a year anyway. Still only give him a year.
You're not missing anything.
You're not missing it. I think it's been a great 25 years ain't quite so good now.
Right. Thanks for sharing that with us.
That's it. And I hope they do stick together for a while so I can earn back the money we lost on that.
Technical difficulty, please stand by. Well, it's either between Kathy or Elise. One of those two will be coming up. Kathy's fixing her makeup. Kathy's fixing her makeup, that means it's her. Second in charge.
Second in command.
Second in charge.
No, not second.
First. You got it.
Henry doesn't often admit to that.
We got it on tape.
Well, I haven't been around as long as some of the Rennicks, but Sarah and I go back a little ways. We used to be on a bowling team together.
That's right.
And I had the worst bowling score. We've been through a lot. It's been good times and some crazy times, but generally, I'd say we've done okay. The Rennick women have now networked, and we have
You have a stronghold.
I have a training program now. But we've all bonded together, and we have a support system, and we call each other fairly regularly, and we commiserate, so we are now able to cope with the Rennick males. And
Just wait, Trish.
That's right. Better start early.
Start on her.
This recruiting day?
And at least with our side of the family, the Rennick grandchildren count, the women are now leading, so we're gaining in numbers. So I'm not sure if that means anything, but we're enrolling the grandchildren in the training program early, so we'll be, hopefully, the next generation will be doing a little bit better. Dave and Sarah, we've had a lot of fun together. We've done a lot of things with them. We, just as Henry mentioned earlier, we had a fun time this year in South Haven. They were there for a long weekend. We had a week in Chicago.
A paid vacation.
Yeah, and you were smoking cigarettes in that bathroom.
David was in a non-smoking hotel.
Not when we got done.
And he had some little tricks for the grandchildren to teach.
That's right.
But we did. We've had a lot of good times. And I just want to say that it's our pleasure and privilege to be here tonight. And on behalf of all the Rennick ladies, I would like to say congratulations, Dave and Sarah, especially to Sarah.
For making it.
You have certainly won our admiration. And we all hope to be able to emulate your 25 years.
All right.
Elise,
There.
okay, this is
Not to be outdone.
my Aunt Elise.
Not to be outdone.
This is the wife of the room. You believe it, she'll have more to say.
If you're lucky, I won't. Just be more entertaining. That shouldn't be too hard. No, I already did that once. We have that on tape. Well, David and Sarah, we go back a long way.
Very long way.
In fact, it includes running away from home before they were ever married.
We were in heat.
I knew there was trouble.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You haven't lived till they show up on your doorstep at midnight at school.
Antioch College.
And have to deal with the parents on top of it. I haven't. So we do indeed go back a long way. We have been through a great deal. You're right, a whole lot of people didn't think you were going to make it. That night I was hoping you weren't. But you did.
We did that night.
No.
Absolutely.
I know nothing. Hopefully we'll celebrate 50 together.
Yay.
We were married in the same year. They were
Right.
married
That's
in
right.
July, yep.
That's right.
25 for both of us.
Happy 25 for you. and
So
Brian.
we'll all be here in another 25.
All right, there you go.
Congratulations.
Probably my mom's best friend in the world, probably.
You won't think there's something.
Lie.
Don't tell him anything we did that we swore we'd never tell.
A spit lie. You'll never tell.
Well, it started in junior high, 7th grade.
Was that before or after Brian was born?
I think I still a twinkle back then. Still working on it.
I don't know what to say except I love her dearly, and she's my sister, and she'll always be my sister. And David, well...
The bastard son you never had.
David, this is for you. But I love you. And I want to thank Brian for letting me be a part of your mom's celebration. And I love you so much, Sarah.
You know that.
And you too, David. I do love you. Thank you.
It's too tall for me. I'm not. Okay, well, I'm not actually a Rennick. Technically, I'm not. But I feel I should say something, and I would like to say that I'm very proud of Brian for the party he's given. I think this is a very nice celebration. I just want to say that Mr. and Mrs. Rennick have been very caring. No.
You can't say that all the time.
Okay. Excuse me. Sarah has always been very kind, giving, and whenever I come over, she's always offering me dinner.
She's learning,
and this and
Kathy.
that.
She's learning.
And usually, Dave's way of greeting me
You didn't
is
start the program. You didn't start the program yet.
But actually, no, I'm very glad to have known them the past couple years, and I think this is a great party, and I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of it.
I think we should hear a few words from the people that were celebrating, like my mom and dad. I'd like to hold and say something. No, both of you. Yeah, get up here. I'm paying big bucks for this. Get up here.
Both of you. Come on, up.
Does he have anything worthwhile to say?
No, that's right.
Never had a chance to talk.
Give us some of those words of wisdom.
Louder, yes.
More.
Well, being the recipient of a party that I've done twice for sets of parents, it's a little strange. So now I know how they must have felt. So it's a little strange being on the receiving end of something as wonderful and as nice as this. And I have been telling Brian that I wasn't real happy with what he had been doing with this money he had been collecting from these part-time jobs.
Watch it, Dave.
But now, yeah, well, I'm busy now. But now I do understand what was going on. And it's very nice. I'm very pleased that everybody was able to come tonight. And if every single person that came up here and said something, there is something that I could say about each one.
All right, don't. Go ahead.
But one thing that I would like to say tonight is that I wish with all my heart that Dave's parents could have been here tonight. I think that of all people, all the wonderful things that they did for David and I over the years, and I don't know whether we were ever able to show the gratitude and the love that we felt for them in those years, but I'm sure that they know that Brian has done this for us, and they are certainly in my thoughts tonight. And as with the Rennick family, it's been, I'm going to say honestly, it hasn't been a bed of roses for 25 years. But somehow or another, it all works out. If you have the determination and the stamina and the love to support it. Yeah. And fortunately, I can say that it seems that we have had all those things in our favor. And as far as Brian is concerned, you know, nobody could ask for a more handsome or wonderful, loving child than Brian has been since the day he was born. And I know probably that we never tell him enough how much we do love him and how much he does mean to us and how proud we are. But I'm sure that, somewhere deep down in there he knows how we feel. And to my mom and dad, who are leaving Monday for California, they go every winter, and they won't be back. And they don't come back until April when all the snow is melted and gone and it's nice and warm. I wish them a safe and happy journey.
And we wish that snowed all year.
And he doesn't mean a word of it.
And I thank you for helping Brian. I appreciate that. And to Tricia, here. Now, Tricia has been in our lives for the last couple of years. I was scared to death that Brian was hoarding all this money because he was going to do something, and I was afraid I was going to miss it, and I was going to be real unhappy with it. But now I know that I'll be here when that time comes. Yep. But Tricia has Tricia has been a godsend to us. She is a wonderful, wonderful girl. From the first day she walked into our house, it was like she had always been there. I will get to that. But she has been a joy to be with. And I know how much Brian cares for her, and I know how much she cares for Brian, and nothing could please me more than to have Tricia with us. And to Rita, I could never, ever in my lifetime express what love and feelings I have had for her all these years. And to think that and to think that there would ever be a time that Rita would not be a part of my life would be a very difficult thing to endure. And I love you, and you know that. And to David. There's a lot of things I could say about David.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
what's Daryl?
Yeah, they're tied.
After 25 years, all you got was this lousy party.
No. There's been times when I thought, boy, I could just strangle this man.
Yes.
Yeah. But underneath, underneath all that, whatever that is that he, or whatever he does, projects to people, there's a kind and loving, there's a kind and loving soul, and in more ways than one, he shows that every day. You do. He'll never admit it. He'll never admit.
Once a week, maybe.
He'd never tell anybody anything good about him. You know?
Go to confession.
He doesn't want to ruin his reputation because he has one. But I'd like to. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate it, and I was as shocked as I will probably ever be in my lifetime, I'm sure.
Until the rabbit died.
Yeah. That's funny. You're 17 years old, you're pregnant. You get married, and in 2 months you go off to this strange country called Iceland, where there's no grass, no trees, just a bunch of rocks.
The first kid could come anytime.
Yeah. And it's daylight all summer and dark all winter, and I mean, you talk about the pits. That was the pits. Yeah, but it all worked out. Here we are, 25 years later, about to embark on a wonderful vacation. I'll either throw him overboard or he'll throw me. I have to decide. So, but just thank you. you, everybody, for coming.
Taking all the time.
Wait, what did you say? You're the youngest one, so you don't have to say anything intelligent, isn't it? I quote that for Grandpa's 50.
That's right.
That's right.
Speech is over, right? Thanks for coming. Let's go home.
You have to be nice one night of
No, never. Shut up, Henry. Never. My turn. That's right. I used to be able to say I could count all my friends on one hand.
You still can.
So I figured
I bribed them all.
I figured Brian probably paid for all these freaking dinners. It's the only way you get all the people to come, isn't it? What else was I going to say?
I have no idea.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna go sit down.
Nope.
Be nice, Dave.
No, I'm very embarrassed. I am. I really am. I swear to God. I'm embarrassed.
He's speechless.
And I am speechless. I felt very lightheaded when I came in here. I couldn't believe that my incompetent son could nearly this.
I'm used to it.
Almost to the point of tears. Almost.
No, you just have to go to the bathroom.
There you go.
James, just because he doesn't know how to start a chainsaw doesn't mean he
Hey, we got that sucker down.
Anyway, I'm very impressed. I heard from a lot of people how much time that is put in, so on and so forth.
He billed it to DNR Electric.
Or My American Express.
That's right.
God, I don't know. Like I said, I am speechless. I'm really impressed.
Good.
Look, you lived next door to us too long, Donna.
Haven't you run out of tape yet?
No, it's going. Still going.
So what about Brian's race?
Tomorrow.
Dave,
what about Brian's race?
Yeah, what about the
We got that on tape.
Put it on the table now.
Roll it.
Roll.
I want this to hold up in a court of law.
2 years ago, Brian did get a raise. And I can see that I made a mistake. If he's got this kind of money to throw around. January 1st, there will be a decrease in pay. We're going up with Continental and American Airlines and LTV, and we're going to have cutbacks, and everybody's going to suffer. There you go. And that's the way it is, Brian. I didn't want to break to you in front of everybody. Brings me to another story. Did I tell you about the truck driver? Aren't you supposed to start these things? Seeing how I got this and I'm in the limelight, and I don't hear about that so much. But there was a truck driver driving down the road, and the guy next to him is what they call a
Bag?
no.
Not close?
He's called a. Boy, I guess I screwed up already.
That was a good one. Check your notes.
Come on, Dave.
Are we done yet?
Are these the kind of instructions you give before you go to work?
Yeah. Go to the job and just handle it, all right?
Just give him the raise.
He unloads the truck for the truck driver, okay? And he's driving down this mountain road, and he's curving around. All of a sudden, he loses his brakes, and the truck driver doesn't know what to do. And so what he did is he woke up his sidewinder, his partner that does the unloading of the truck, and he tells the truck, the sidewinder, the guy next to him that unloads the truck, he tells him that
We can't tell them.
Hey, I'm just checking to see how
You know, he says, what in the world would the truck driver want to wake up his partner for? He's lost his brakes going down the hill. He's about ready to crash over a mountain that's got a 100-foot drop. He says, well, I wanted to wake him up and show him that he's never been in a crash like this before. I just wanted to see it. Yeah, well, come on, yuck it up. That's the end of the story. Yeah, thank you. Guy walked in a doctor's office with a duck on his head. The doctor says, can I help you? And the duck says, yeah, get this guy off my ass.
Those are all those things. Wait, stare. Mom. I think it's due time for the ceremonial cutting of the cake. So if everybody kind of wants to gather around the cake and watch them cut the cake and stuff like that. Get out of my pocket, I ain't gonna.
food fight.
Sarah.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, we got rolling here. Dave! Dave! Well, that's not the right thing. You gotta use this thing. Oh, which end do you cut? I mean, do you cut at the top?
Whatever you want. What do you want?
No, the top is safe for your 50th.
Here?
Sure.
Well, my something in there.
Oh, that's cardboard, Brian. Where's Brian? Did you pay for this thing?
Don't
Oh, it's cardboard in the middle, I'm telling you.
Wait.
Otherwise they use concrete.
We're not doing it in the right spot or something. Something's not right. No, that's
There's cardboard in there.
That's cardboard there, okay? See, that's in between the layers.
Well, Dave, I think we just found Jimmy Hoffa.
Right, yeah, he does. Brian has
Ew, yeah. You have another one, Phil?
Yes, I sure do.
Go for it, Dad. I'm not gonna eat that big thing. Here.
Go for it. I guarantee this one. Go for it.
It's too big. For all of us. You want that big thing?
Yeah.
1, 2, 8.
Come on. Go.
Wait a minute, how do you do that?
I don't know.
It's been 25 years.
Just open your mouth. Open your mouth.
Wrong hand.
No, you gotta go.
Yeah, just go like this. Just go like this.
There, Sebastian is fed.
Payback's
Come on, Mom.
Go for it, Sarah.
Do it, Mom. Do it.
You're awful. We want to know how's the cake.
Oh, that's her. Somewhere in that
Yeah, how's the cake? It's good. That's what we really want. It's good.
No, they got married.
I know, they were nice. Can you tell me who the members are that are living in your household?
There's my husband and I then I have 2 small children, 2 and 3, and also my father, who's in his late 50s.
Okay.
So there's 5 of us.
Uh-huh. And how long has your father lived with you here?
It'll be almost 2 years.
And could you tell me, how did you guys get into that situation?
Well, what had happened was my father had worked for a company for a real long time, like 26 years, and I think a lot goes back to the economy. They were doing away with positions. So what's been happening is that he's right now at age 58 trying to go out and look for another job, and it seems that what he has been used to, like a sales rep for a company for like 26 years, they're hiring either new college grads because they would take less money. It seems like as far as people doing away with positions for people that age, going out and looking for a new job, what we've been finding, and I've been helping them too, is a lot of minimum wage, $4.50 an hour, $5 an hour.
That's about all I can find.
That's about all I could find, and what's important right now too, because I think that they just feel that he's 58 years old, possibly medical or insurance, or how long are they going to be with him, or can he keep up the pace or something, and in turn, like I said, hiring a younger person, and then what we've been finding out, if he was to take a job, $5 an hour, which he has, it still doesn't do him any good as far as in turn going out and living on his own again. Because I mean, 40 hours a week at $5 an hour, 200 after taxes, and just seems like any sort of renting an apartment or something like that's at least $400 a month or whatever. So.
What I was gonna say is, with all this experience, was the company just cutting back? And
Yeah. I think just like what's happening with a lot of companies is because of the economy. I know right now it's happening with my husband's too. Is they're doing away with a lot of eliminating positions, and that's what had happened with him. He had a boss over him, and then he was in turn a couple other people's supervisor. And so what they did was eliminated him as a supervisor and gave more responsibility to the other person, which I know is happening a lot, it seems, anymore. I know with my husband's company too, he's got one person under him, and they look like they'll be eliminating him also, just to cut back, because as far as costs go, I'm trying to save money.
Could you tell me a couple of things that maybe have changed since your dad has come to live with you?
Well,
you guys, the rest of the family?
I'm really, really very fortunate because my husband and him got along really fabulously, because he's really a great guy. He's got a great sense of humor. And him and I have always been very close. But a couple things that have changed is, of course, privacy. I don't run around in the house possibly like I used to. I always am, kind of conscious of him always being here. I think as far as with my own family, with my husband and the kids, I used to be a little bit more lax about meals, not cooking maybe 5 times a week instead of 7 or whatever. And I always feel that try to make a conscious effort to always have dinner, and so the finances. Grocery bills have been a tad more higher. We don't use the upstairs, but he is up there because of the 2 bedrooms down and 2 bedrooms up. So we find as far as the utility bills. So as far as money goes, it is a bit more gas, electric, and water. I think the hardest thing that I find with him living here is somebody that I've always looked up to all my life and has always been there for me, and really, a wonderful support and a lot of love. And I feel bad for him right now, because I think that the thing that's hurting him most right now is possibly, his pride. I don't think nobody ever thought that the tables would turn here, where in turn he would be coming and living with one of his children. And so I think that's real difficult as far as his ego and his pride. I know that's real difficult on him, so I feel badly for him. So.
Do you think this will be for a couple more years, or how long do you think you guys will
Well,
have this arrangement?
yeah, we're as far as we really don't think it's going to be forever. We're hoping he's got a couple things in the fire, and we're hoping that something is going to come up. He did work for a company for 6 months, and just about putting some money in the bank, looking for an apartment to rent and have money for the security deposits and such, and then also was laid off, him along with 12 other people, and then a month later the entire company closed down. So it just seems, as far as what's really difficult now is just security. If you can be with a place for 1 month or 2 months or 6 months, and you don't know if you're going to be there for a year or 5. So we're hoping that something will come up that looks like it's going to be pretty secure for him, and that he'll move out.
Okay, this is sort of a different area I wanted to ask about, but you mentioned a little bit about your husband getting along with your father. How do your kids get along with him, and how do they see?
Yeah, they're so young. They're so young, just being 2 and 3. They don't really have the frame of reference to think that this is right or wrong, because they really don't know any difference. They've really pretty much grown up with him up here, because the one's just 3 and he came in when the other one was a couple months old. So he's just always been here. They get along with him, real well. I think it's probably having a mother and a father to discipline and tell you what to do and what not to do, and then also having, another adult living here, and that's, I know as far as disciplining, or him telling them what to do and what not to do, they'll run, so you're not my mom and you're not my dad.
That brings me to the other question I was going to ask you. do you find that your role as being mother or disciplining the kids kind of clashes at times with Dad being here, or do you ever find that a problem? Where, you know, maybe your dad kind of steps in too? Or does he
I
keep that
just,
to you?
he usually keeps a lot of it to me, but I also feel that, you know, of course, I know them better than anybody else, and if they're into something, I'm not as apt to jump and tear them away, or discipline them, or tell them they're not allowed to play with that. If I think, you know, they're really not going to break anything, and I am keeping an eye on them, and they're happy, and they're not crying or fighting, then I usually opt for, instead of getting in and trying to take something away from them, letting them have it for a period of time. Whereas the minute he has something that they think they should, I'm going to go, you know, go get them and take that
So
away
he's a
from them.
little
Do you know?
more relaxed.
Do you know what they have? And you know, I'm just like, yeah, I do. I know what they're doing. And they seem content, and they're not fighting, so I opt to let them have it. So there are a couple times where he will step in, and I say, no, I can see what's happening this way.
You said that there have been some more economic changes, things have cost a little more. Does your dad take any responsibility as far as his share?
Yeah, well, when he was
Do you
working
make him
for
pay rent or anything?
when he was working for the 6 months, yes, he did pay me rent, which was a big help, you know, as far as you know, the grocery bills and electric bill, and it also helped us get our head above the water a little bit in paying off some debts that we had. But as it stands right now, he's really not in a position, and I don't ask for it, and he's really not in a position to give it to me. At a time when he was working, he was, you know, buying some groceries and giving me some money, and we went on vacation. He gave me some money to go on vacation, and he is a help with the children too. If I need to, you know, run out for a very short period of time, because
Babysit?
yeah, he can watch them if one's sleeping or one's gone. But that's another thing too. I think a lot of people think, well, you know, you're really lucky having him there and having 2 kids. It's a lot, probably a lot easier for you to get out and do things. And at this age, and at 58 years old, they're just a little bit too quick for him, and a little bit more, a lot for him to handle. So, you know, possibly if they were older or younger, maybe it would be easier. But we aren't really able to you know, leave him here with them unless they're sleeping or something. And I'm able to use him as a babysitter.
Well, I have one more for you. I was thinking about how most families usually have a set of rules that everyone knows about, or certain standards. Having your dad be here now, are there any rules that you 3 adults, your husband, yourself, and dad, have an understanding of? Or what I'm referring to is maybe like coming in, you know, do you ever mention anything about, do you mind if your dad comes in whatever hour?
Yeah.
Or since you have small kids, do you ever talk about that?
No, I think basically what's happened is all the rules and really the kind of consideration that I've grown up with that he had taught me applies once over again. When I was, you know, 16 or 17 and was out, as long as I was calling and he knew where I was at and knew what time I would be home or what time I was leaving or where I was at, I was brought up to do that, and I really never had any limits or guidelines of when to come home, just as long as he knew. And I always made sure I had at that point a, you know, roll of dimes, which is a roll of quarters now, but that applies right now too. If he is out and he's going to stay the night at, you know, his friend's house, it's about 25-30 miles away, he'll call and you know, say this is what I'm going to do, and I'll be home in the morning. Or if he just leaves, he always tells me where he's going to go and, you know, when he's going to be back, so I don't worry about him, because I think that's just another thing too, is like you said, as a role of a mom and a wife and a daughter, it's a lot more of you know, people to think about and people to worry about.
It seems almost that everything's reversed now.
Yeah.
Because you grew up, you know, giving the same consideration to your parents, and now your dad's
And now
here, kind of
here. Yeah,
checking in with you.
I think that probably this isn't a situation that a lot of people have. I'm a little bit early for it. I think the way things are going right now in the 90s and hitting 2000 with Medicaid and medical insurance and stuff like that, we're probably gonna find more people moving in with their children, but at a later age, possibly like 70 or 80 or something like that, so.
Maybe another alternative instead of nursing homes too.
Yeah, and so like I said, I think I'm just, at that age, I think it might be a little bit more common, but like I said, when he wants to work and he's able to work and he wants to get out there and do something right now, and it's just, it's just not working for him. My husband kids and says, now, if he does move out and then do we see him again, 10 years from now?
Yeah.
And, so that's always, a question there, but luckily everybody has always gotten along real well, and it hasn't affected any sort of.
So your husband really doesn't mind too much then, or?
Well, it's got the.
It's kind of the situation.
Yeah, it's a situation, and like I said, he's known my father since we started dating 11 years ago, and has always thought that he was real great. And so when this came up, he said, no problem. We'll store his stuff in the garage, in the basement, and he's here to help him out, in some stuff around the house. And they seem to, do the manly builder square thing and stuff like that together and with the kids. So I'm real fortunate where he doesn't really ever say anything about it, other than when I will mention, well, we'll get that room fixed up when my dad leaves, and then he says sometimes maybe he's not going to leave, and then that's when you have to kind of go, no, I know that he will, I know that he will.
Well, that's about all I have here. Unless you have any other things that you might want to throw in that are different maybe from everybody else's family life?
Not really. I was just speaking with somebody else about, the thing going back to the babysitters and going out, and that is one problem that we have encountered. If we wanted to, if my father was gone and we wanted to go out at night and say we were going to come home at 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever, we'd have to tell him, don't come home before 2, because of the fact that there may be a 12 or 13-year-old here babysitting, and if he was to come home and could drive her home, but that's not a really good situation to have a 58-year-old and a 12-year-old, and also the kids would be sleeping. And so that we've come into problems that way too. And in situations like that, what usually happens is my sister or brother will, in turn help out. But it's really kind of funny to just say, we're going to be going out, you're going to have to stay out of the house too. So,
you want to say hi?
Come over here next to Trish.
Well, thank you, Mary Ellen.
All right, you're welcome.
You want to say goodbye, Richie?
Turn around and say goodbye.
Wave.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
I thought it was going to be about my kids, not all about my dad. I was like, I had all this stuff to say about my kids.
No, I remember asking about you.
Oh, okay.